Have you ever questioned your sanity at your home when it comes to dealing with you, your spouse, and your kids? Well, today we're going to talk about a routine to help you gain the sanity back at your home. When you're talking about kids, there are a handful of things that are consistent overall. Whether you're in South Florida or you're in the mountains of Arkansas or the beaches of California, a lot of things are consistent with kids in general or people in general. Number one thing that we found that helps with our family is routine. Routine is wonderful for everybody, especially with kids. So what we've got to do is we've got to figure out a step-by-step process every morning when they get up, every day if they're at home or after school, of what they can do. When their feet hit the door from coming home from school, this is what they do. Whether it's ball practice or homework or time outside to play to blow off steam, it does not matter. Just make sure that you're consistent with that. Plan and explain. Kids love to know what's going on. It makes them feel important, number one, but it also gives them an idea of what's coming next. One of the things that my kids always ask, and the reason they ask this is because I used to talk about this with my wife, and I would look at Jackie and I would say, hey, what's the rundown of the day? And she would say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Or she would say, hey, what's the rundown for the rest of the day? Or what's the rundown for the weekend? I have at least once a day, I have one of my kids, my 11-year-old, my 8-year-old, will say, Dad, what's the rundown of the day? All they want to know is what's coming next and what's coming later. So if we're going to a friend's house to visit, or we're going to go out to eat for dinner, or we're going to go shoot ball, or we're going to swim, whatever the case may be, they really don't care. They just want to know what's coming next. So if we can plan and explain to our kids what's going on, they will have a wonderful sense of security about themselves, knowing that A, you know what's going on as the parent and as the leader, but B, they know what's coming next. Dinner. Dinner is a meal that can be eaten together every night for most families. Now, sometimes it's breakfast, but dinner is something that I think, and we think in our home, that's very, very critical and very, very important. Sit down every night, whether it's at 5, like our next door neighbors, they got 5 kids, they eat dinner at 4:45, 5 o'clock. We are not 5 o'clock eaters. We're 6:30, 7:30-ish eaters. It's just who we are. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but that's just who we are. But we sit down 6 of the 7 nights a week at the dinner table together, and we eat together. If one kid gets done early or one person gets done early, they sit until most of us, as I said most of us are done. And then they ask to be excused. Does that sound like Little House on the Prairie? Yep, it does, a little bit. But that also gives them family time, whether it's 10 minutes or 25 or 30 minutes or an hour, it gives them family time for them to sit and enjoy. And sometimes we don't talk about a lot, but you know what? We're together. And being together is a huge, huge part. Again, I've used this word a couple times, but being together is also security. This is times when you can talk about things, general things with your kids and with your spouse. Be sure during this time, though, that you're not talking about things that you shouldn't talk about in front of your kids. I did that the other night. My wife corrected me later on. I was wrong. She was right. But it's very, 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 very important that we do that. Last thing, piggybacking off of dinner. One of the things that is huge for us is when you make dinner, make enough for the next day. You need to give the kids a snack that they can have, that they can go pull out of the refrigerator, so that it's not something silly and sugary that they shouldn't be eating. So have something from the night before that they can go warm up. Whether you had quesadillas, whether you had tacos, or whether you had spaghetti, or whatever the case may be, you can always make a hot snack or have lunch for the next day if they're home that you don't have to A, prepare for, but B, that's most of the time a little bit more healthy than the snacks that are normally in a cupboard. I hope this has helped you. Routine and planning and getting your kids in a rhythm will help you create more sanity at your home. If you have any questions, we would love to answer those for you, or if you have any information that you'd like to give us, please email us, thomas@thomascox.co. Thank you so much. Look forward to serving you guys in the future.